So, all right. Welcome to my very first webinar. I'm really excited to be sharing this material with you. This has been a long journey for me, and some of you may have been there last Thursday when I presented this to my meetup group. There's about 30 people there, and this was it went over really well. I think it might have been a little bit overwhelming to do about NLP. So that being said, what I'd like to do right off the bat is I'm going to try a little poll thing. Check out this poll and let me know what is your level of NLP training. I just want to get a sense from the group what we're at. Yeah, I kind of figured we were going to have a lot of master practitioners, trainers. Yeah. Okay, so for the few of you who've never taken a there's going to be some stuff in here that I'm not going to be able to go in depth with. So let me make this simple. If you want to go get training, I highly recommend you check out NLP.com. They have a great training program. That's where I used to work, and they're by far the best price you're going to get anywhere for the value and the quality of the training. It's unparalleled. So cool. I'm going to close that poll because we've got 85% of people. That's pretty fun. I like the little poll thing. For those of you who've taken practitioner, the master practitioners and trainers, I think this is going to be kind of less of an issue. But I want to clarify something right off the bat. I love NLP. I have always loved NLP, and I'm not at all here to poo-poo or downplay its value or its effectiveness. On the contrary, what I have discovered has reinvigorated my passion for NLP, and I'm hoping that maybe for some of you it will do that too. The people I'm the most concerned about in this are people who've taken either nothing or just practitioner. Because if you've only done practitioner, I don't want you to think that I'm saying you shouldn't go to master practitioner or trainer's training or wherever you want to go to take your NLP. Because this, so what are we doing here? Let's get this started. I'm going to tell you basically two things. This is two. My story about kind of how I got here, and a little bit about my struggles that as I have been opening up about this, I've found that I'm not alone. There's a lot of other people who have shared this journey with me and struggles. Webinar is to help you get better results with NLP than you ever imagined. Now, if you are like me, in the sense that maybe you have never really gotten results with NLP, then any results would be better than you imagined. Do you understand what I'm saying? That was a rhetorical question. You can respond if you want. All right, so now, we have 45 people in here. That's amazing. We have almost a 50% show. That's really, really good for a webinar like this, and we're only 6 minutes past the time. So what I'd really encourage you to do is to give yourself the opportunity to focus right now. Limit your distractions. Shut your phone off. Shut your other browser windows and other things you're doing on your computer right now if you're using your computer mode. Focus on this, because for those of you who know me, you know that I choose my words very carefully, and I intend for this next hour and a half to be as transformational as I can make it. There's a lot of material that I want to cover. Some of it I am going to just skim over the surface. I mean, honestly, the majority of it I'm going to skim over the surface. The one piece of feedback that I got from this presentation when I did it for my meetup group was drinking from a fire hose. It was too much information too quickly. I tried to cram too much. So I tried to cut back This is cut back. So for those of you who are going, too much, I apologize. I'll work on getting better at cutting back even further. So for right now, I want you to focus. Matter of fact, let's just take a moment to feel your body. Breathe. Do this. I'm not just talking to myself here. Take a moment and breathe with me. I'm all jacked up and excited, so I can stand to relax for a second. Where is your attention? Is it scattered? Are you noticing your breathing? Blinking. Where are your hands? Are they moving? Are they still? It's amazing how much value you can get out of just being present to something. It's something that we crave. We have reached a point in our society where we tend to hyper-stimulate ourselves. There's a quote I heard about meditation. Some of you may have heard me say this before. If you can't sit alone with yourself and nothing else in a room for 1 hour and enjoy your company, what makes you think anyone else would want to? I know it's kind of harsh, but I think there's some validity to that. And it relates to what we're talking about today. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about focus, I would suggest that you use this as an opportunity to notice how difficult or easy that it is for you to pay attention to one thing. And if you want to scatter your attention, that's your choice. Obviously, I can't make you. If you were live in a room, I would give you the Smurf stare until you attention. But there's a difference between that and a webinar, because you don't have me looking at you. You don't have the social pressure of everybody else. So it's super easy to text and get on the phone or watch YouTube videos in the background. Okay. Thanks, Emily. I'm going to go for it. She said, love detailed content. Buckle up. Corley, yes. Okay, thank you. Good point. All right. So let's talk a little bit about my story. I was raised a poor, young, Jewish Christmas tree farmer. The poor part's not really true, but yeah, I was. My family was practicing Jewish, and I lived on a Christmas tree farm in the Northwest in a town called Alaska. This is not a picture of my farm, by the way, but it looked a lot like that. I used to go out and run in those trees. I used to love to get lost in the trees. One of my favorite things to do would be to go in and kind of get disoriented, because there was this sense that no matter how lost I got, as long as I just kept moving in the direction that I could feel, that I was like, I knew my internal compass said go this way, as long as I kept moving in that direction, I knew I would get there eventually. I was born almost 2 months premature. That's me. There's a little baby there. That's my sister, Melika, and my mom. I spent the first 40-some days in an incubator because my mom said I kept forgetting to breathe. I'm telling you this because I might come back to this later on. It relates to some of our topic today. I was very close with my sister and my dad. You might even be able to see some Christmas trees there in the background. I got into theater, drama, and acting. I got bitten by the acting bug pretty young. This is, I believe, the very first play I was ever in. For those of you who question whether or not I really was a Jewish Christmas tree farmer, this is a Purim play, for those of you who know what that is. I was playing the villain who, if I recall, it was a long time ago, I think his name is Haman, and it was awesome. This is another play that I did in college. I've always been a bit of a weirdo. I've been a goof for a long time. And then I ended up dropping out of college because I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book it said, if you want to become wealthy, don't get a job. So I went, okay. And it said, don't go to school. It's not how you do it. Yep. Way again. That's why I'm leaving the picture up there for you, just so you can look at it for a while. So I left college. I started my first business. Some of you may have heard me talk about this. I started a cleaning business because I wanted to learn how to run a business. And then I started getting into seminars and trainings. I started doing real estate investing when I was about 17, 18 years old, I think. And then I called NLP. And I went to my very first hypnosis training. Whoops. No. Whoop, back. I went to my very first hypnosis training in 2004. After I'd read a bunch of books and been doing a lot of study, and I went to a training in Vancouver, Washington. I went down and I just fell in love. I took the NLP trainings afterwards. This was my very first hypnosis stage show. Right after, I'm the guy in the black shirt and the jeans there. Right after this, and I don't have a picture of this, I stood on that girl while she was in hypnosis. It was her birthday, by the way, birthday party hypnosis stage show. This was my very first hypnosis certification training. That's me looking extremely malnourished on a raw food diet for about a year at that point. God, I was skinny. How many years later it was? 2004, I took my first training. I got my trainer's training certification in 2006. So this probably would have been 2007, maybe 2008. But I started running my trainings, and I ran my own NLP and hypnosis training company for almost 3 years here in Southern California. And then after I did that, I came on board to work at the company where I was trained with the Empowerment Partnership, which I think like 99% of you probably took your NLP trainings there too. I worked there from 2010 until the end of last year. And my journey through NLP has been, hi Linda, no worries. My journey through learning NLP kind of only makes sense if you know where it started. So I believe that I have had this sense that something is wrong for a long time. When I was little, I used to play outside a lot. And the world was magical to me. There were universes that I created in my mind that I would go and visit and play in. And I was, I think, a pretty happy kid. But like most people, my parents weren't perfect, and there were things that I have learned in hindsight are much more damaging than most people think they are. Are these slides coming up okay? You guys can see them? Yeah? Good. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay. because we're going to be picking up the pace here in a second. These are my opening metaphors, just in case you were wondering. So, for years, decades at this point, more than a decade, I have felt like I had a disease, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know how I got it. And I didn't remember what it felt like to not have this disease. And the funny thing is I looked around and I could tell that other people had it too. But it didn't seem that other people had the disease. Like everybody just took it for granted. Like, yeah, no, this is just the way things were. But for whatever reason, I wouldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. When I found hypnosis and NLP, I really believed that I'd found the cure for that disease. But what happened was that it actually led me farther and farther and farther down a path of disconnecting from what it was that I was really searching for, what it was that I really wanted. After I got into NLP and hypnosis, I got divorced twice. Both of my marriages dissolved because I could not get my shit together. For lack of a better way, I can go into more detail, but I'm not going to right now. I almost destroyed my third marriage. I flushed my financial life down the toilet. My health was 5 years of complete and utter neglect. I had stage 3 adrenal fatigue. I gained almost 100 pounds. I was so out of shape that my back one time up and I had to get taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and they had to give me like 4 injections of muscle relaxants because I couldn't let go of the tension in my body. And all this time, I'm teaching NLP. I'm teaching it to small groups. I'm teaching it to groups of hundreds around the country. I trained over 4,000 people in the 4 years that I worked with the Empowering Partnership. And I felt like a fraud. I felt like, how can I be helping these people? But here's the thing, I did. Like, I could tell that there were people that would come and I would do stuff not even believing that it was going to work, and then it fucking did. And I would have given up on this shit so long ago if it wasn't for you, really, if it wasn't for the results that I was getting with other people. But I couldn't get it to work with me. And it was like the farther I climbed up the ladder, whatever, the deeper I studied, the more disconnected I got, and the harder it became to ask for help and to admit what was going on. And about shit got so bad in my life and my relationship that I really, I didn't have to, but I decided it was time to wake up. And I attribute much of this to the support and stubbornness of my wife, who's not here right now, but I don't think I would be here right now if it wasn't for her. And I think not alone in this experience. Now, you may not have had the same experience in your NLP trainings. Maybe you had a great experience. Maybe the NLP techniques have worked amazing for you. Thank you, Beth. Maybe the techniques have worked amazing for you, and they did work amazing for my clients and for the people that I worked with. But I get this sense that so many people in the trainings sit there and they look around like, well, this seems to be working for everybody else. What the hell is wrong with me? Or maybe you're in the group of people who you sit there and the techniques, they work okay, I guess, but then you look at the demonstrations up on the stage and you get the impression, because this is exactly how it's explained, that that is what it's supposed to look like when you go out and work with other people. But I can tell you from personal experience it doesn't work that way. One of the things that prompted me on this path is a book. One of the 2 books I'm going to recommend for you during this conversation. It's called Provocative Hypnosis by Jorgen Rasmussen. One of the best books on hypnosis and NLP that I've ever read. Provocative Hypnosis. Check it out. This book was written as a response to his frustration with the way that NLP and hypnosis is taught. And he challenged a lot of things for me. This was right around the time when I decided I needed to step back from teaching this stuff and give myself some distance. And when I left a year ago, December 1st was my last day. When I left teaching NLP, I didn't know if I was going to come back. I really didn't. I stood back from it and said, I need to get some distance, and if I don't fall back in love with this, then I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm not going to do this anymore because I still think it has value and I still think it works for other people. It's just maybe it's not my path. But when I started to discover what I'm going to share with you today, and I started to do the work that needs to be done once you understand this missing component, once I understood the disease that I had, not only did my life start to improve, the results with hypnosis and NLP transformed. So, I'd like to talk about the three keys to understanding the major missing component that I see in the way that NLP is taught generally. And it's not taught this way by everyone. It's taught this way in certain communities, in certain schools. And by the way, I'm not trying to create a comprehensive list of all the why NLP doesn't work when it doesn't work. This is one issue that I've found with it. And it's very easy to drink the Kool-Aid. When you know what I mean by that? When you study something like this. And there's a lot of social pressure. And frankly, there's a lot of cult-like thinking. I'm not saying NLP is a cult. I'm saying there's a lot of cult-like thinking. And if you don't like that I said that, well, look into what cult thinking is. No offense. I mean, take offense if you want. So, the three keys that I'm going to talk about relate to this one problem, this disease that interestingly, I started to discover the antidotes to the disease before I even knew what it was. And then when I finally figured out what it was, I realized how the puzzle started to fit together. So, here we go. Key number one, you cannot think yourself out of problems you felt your way into. Key number two, emotional trauma is real trauma. Key number three, the reptilian brain doesn't care about your self-image. And as a bonus, I'm going to talk about key number four when we get to the end. That's to keep you here. A significant portion of what I have learned here comes from the work of a guy named Alexander Lowen. Alexander Lowen has very quickly, over the last, very deeply, I should say, over the last 2 years of my in-depth study of his work, taken a place beside Milton Erickson as one of the most important, I think, healers of the last century. And you guys know how I feel about Milton Erickson, right? So, yeah, to me, these two people are giants of understanding the mind and the process of healing. So, number one, you can't think yourself out of problems you felt your way into. Here we go. Blah, blah, blah. Addiction. Holy shit, I'm going to go fast on this, so we're going to pick up the pace here. Buckle up. So, there's lots of different kinds of addiction, right? You can be addicted to all kinds of different things. But in the last year or two, there is a mounting body of research that is supporting the idea, and don't get all up in my grill if you don't agree with me on this, but just do the research. If you want more information, I can tell you where to look for it. That basically all addictions run in the same pathways in the brain. In other words, there is no neurological difference between an addiction to cigarettes, heroin, or Facebook, or pornography, or video games, or gambling, or alcohol. In other words, there's no such thing as physiological addiction. Now, we've been saying this about cigarettes for a long time, but the evidence is mounting that there's no such thing as physiological addiction in a wider range of things. And I can go into more detail on this, but we have been sold a bill of goods about what withdrawals means. Do you know what withdrawals from heroin actually is? If you take the psychological trauma out of it, right? The physiological withdrawal symptoms is like a that's it. It's a 24-hour flu. But we have it in our head that if you're going to go off heroin, you're going to get locked in a room and you're going to be scratching at the walls and you might die. So what I'm here to suggest is that that is the mental component, the emotional component of the addiction, not the physical component. So in addition to this information, which this alone might be pretty mind-blowing for some of you, in addition to this idea that all addictions follow the same pathway, they actually have found evidence to suggest that there is only one cause for all addictions. And before I tell you what that is, I want you to understand that when I say addiction, I mean anything you do unconsciously. Is that broad enough for you? I mean, I love that Facebook picture there, but Candy Crush on your phone, or Netflix until 3 in the morning, or whatever it is, even workaholism. There are some addictions that are socially acceptable. Those ones are really dangerous. All addictions have the same cause. So, I'm going to tell you a story. They took some rats, and they put them in a small cage, individual rats by themselves, and they gave them water laced with morphine. Sorry, they had water, and they had water laced with morphine. They had two options. And, as one would expect, these rats would drink the water laced with morphine until they died. But then this scientist, who was not an idiot, thought, you know, if I was in a tiny fucking box and all I had to do by myself was drink water laced with morphine, I'd probably drink it until... So he said, I wonder if the environment has something to do with this. I apologize if I'm yelling. I hope this isn't as confrontational as it would be if I was like standing right in front of you. I get really into this, and I'm used to speaking to large groups. So tell me if I'm getting too intense and you're like, Jesus, back off. So he took these rats that were addicted to morphine, okay, and they put them into what's called an enriched environment, a big cage that was 200 times bigger than the previous cage, with male and female rats so they could get their sex on, and They had fun things to do, right? And guess what? Every single one of them stopped drinking the water laced with morphine by themselves. Does that blow your mind? Because it blew mine. I thought once you got addicted to heroin that you were going to die. Like, that's it. Like, it's a death sentence. Now, I'm using an extreme example, morphine, heroin, they're the same thing, effectively, because I want you to understand that your addiction, whatever it is, the small one that you think is like, oh, whatever, is running on the same pathway, and it has the same cause. Addiction has the same cause. You guys ready for what it is? Loneliness. We're all addicted to something that takes away the pain. Takes the pain away. All right. Let's talk about antidepressants. That name is stupid because antidepressants don't make you anti-depressed. They take away the peaks and the valleys. They take away the highs and the lows, pleasure and pain. In the middle, you have, in the middle, we would call this comfortable. Comfort is an interesting word. Comfort is, we have confused in our culture. I heard this from a guy named Christopher Ryan. He said, in our culture, we have confused comfort with pleasure. They're not the same thing. Pleasure says, do this. Comfort is a lack of sensation. A pillow makes you comfortable, but it does not give you pleasure. So what is another word for comfort? Numb. I just love that picture. Okay. I found this quote, and it really talks about this feeling of loss, this disease, this thing that I knew I had in my childhood, and it's gone, and I couldn't get it back. I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child has grown. The dream is gone. I have become comfortably numb. So what is the disease? I'm going to cut to the chase here in the interest of time. After 2 years of in-depth research, I finally came across a book that answered my questions, and it gave me a, and the name of the book is Narcissism. Now, narcissism does not mean what most people think it means. When someone says, oh, you're narcissistic, or that person's narcissistic, it's become very fashionable. There's a lot of articles written lately about narcissism. And the reality is, in my assessment, first of all, most of them have no idea what narcissism actually is. And number two, a lot of them are written by people who clearly have a shit ton of baggage about a narcissist who burned them. You guys know what I mean? Like, it's like, here's why a narcissist will never change, and you just have to get them out of your life. And it's like, whoa, hold on a second. So this is the definition of narcissism in most people's mind. When you look up narcissism in a Google image search, this. Now, is this an example of narcissism? Sorry. I am not making any political commentary. Yes, these are examples of narcissism. Abso-freaking-lutely. and not for the reasons that you think. Okay? So let's talk about the tale of Narcissus. But I'm probably going to get this story wrong too. Forgive me for anybody who knows Greek mythology better than I do. The story goes that Narcissus was cursed to fall in love with the next face that he looked upon. And the next face that he looked upon was his own reflection. It was not himself. He fell in love with an image. So what is narcissism? I love that picture. That picture. That is narcissism. Narcissism is characterized by two tendencies. A prioritization of the self-image over the actual self, disconnection from feeling / the body. A disconnection from feeling, a disconnection from the body. Those are synonymous. Why does this matter? Well, let's talk about that. A narcissistic culture. It appears you suffer from insecurity, loneliness, and low self-esteem. I suggest you post daily selfie pics for strangers online until you feel better. Did you know that if you ask children under the age of 13 right now, what do you want to be when you grow up? The answer is different than it's ever been in recorded history. See, it used to be, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a ballerina, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a scientist, I want to be whatever, right? You guys know what the answer is now? If you ask a kid under the age of 13, what do you want to be when you grow up? The answer is famous. Are you aware that that is not a job title? Famous. Why? Because we have deified narcissism. We have taken individuals and created a culture around them where, more than anything, remember we said all addiction, the root cause is loneliness? Why do kids obsess about being famous? Because there's a hole inside of them that they're trying to fill with love. And they can't get it around them. So they think, you know what? If 1,000,000 strangers love me, then I would feel good enough. Then I would feel whole. And the beautiful thing is that it risks nothing. It's called a parasocial relationship. People who fall in love with celebrities or fall in love with YouTube celebrities, where you have a window into their life. Friend, they substitute. They're like junk food in that it tricks you into thinking you're getting actual nutrition. Okay, number 2. Emotional trauma is real trauma. Is this good? Are you guys with me? Is this like too much? Have I pissed anybody off? I haven't seen anybody drop out yet, so okay. All right, here we go. Key number 2. Emotional trauma is real trauma. We have a tendency in our culture to not prioritize anything that is not physical and tangible. So I'm about to make your emotional baggage tangible. Ready? How does this happen? How do we get narcissistic? You guys ever heard the story, the metaphor about the elephant? So they take a baby elephant and they tie it to, they chain it to something that it can't move. And for a long time it struggles, but eventually it gives up. And then when you have a full-grown elephant, the only thing you need to do to keep them from running away is put the chain around their leg and then just put a stake in the ground. These elephants are so powerful, they could probably pull a house down through their behavior, through their life experience, that it's not worth trying. They don't even bother. Yes, Beth says learned helplessness. Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about trauma. Ooh, this is going to be a fun, lighthearted conversation. Anybody heard of this experiment? Fucking scientists, seriously. So they took baby monkeys and they took them away from their mother and they put them in a box with one surrogate mother that was covered in terry cloth and looked appealing, and the other one gave them food. And the one that felt affectionate was the one that they favored, not the one that gave them food. Why? I will question this for a second. Think about this. What is that monkey right there in that picture getting? Something is feeding it. You know that babies, human babies, will die if they don't get physical contact, physical touch. There are some people that suggest that the reason that they die is that it is effectively suicide. That they stop breathing because they basically say, if this is what life is, fuck it, I'm out. I don't want a part of this. And I mentioned to you that I spent the first 40 days of my life in an incubator, and I kept forgetting to breathe. My mother said that I would turn blue until someone reached in and touched me, and then I would gasp and start breathing again. What is the need that they're fulfilling? I'm not asking you to answer me. I'm asking you to feel it, because I don't think there's a word to describe this. Look at this picture. I couldn't even find a version that didn't have the little watermark on it, but it was so powerful. I had to put it in there. Look, I mean, there is a part of you inside that feels like that. And I know that's true because if you look at that and can feel something, there has to be something inside that it's resonating with. So then, what's trauma? Okay? Trauma is in the eye of the beholder. Now, for all you NLP experts out there, you already know this, right? Everyone has a different model of the world. So let's talk about how trauma happens, because I want you to understand where narcissism comes from. I mean, this is not a comprehensive course, but I want to give you some ideas of how subtle it can be. So there's gross trauma. I don't mean like ew. I mean like obvious, like PTSD. I found this picture. It isn't about what's wrong with you. It's about what happened to you. Why does that exist? That picture exists because there are soldiers who come back from war having seen their brothers blown up next to them. And they judge themselves as being weak because they're traumatized. Traumatic stress disorder. You can't not be traumatized. It's how your body works. And there are so many things that cause you trauma that you have no idea. We have forgotten, like the frog boiling in the water, what it's supposed to feel like, it meaning life. And some of this starts so you might not even have a reference point, because they're actually now finding evidence to suggest that these patterns can start in the womb. When you're a child, when there is a child who witnesses intense emotions around them, they pick up that vibrational frequency. I'm not trying to get too metaphysical on you here, but there is an overwhelming resonance of emotion that happens in their body that is so powerful they can't deal with it. I want you to imagine for a second, I mean, like this is more subtle actually. I mean, let's talk most obvious trauma: physical and sexual and verbal abuse, emotional abuse directed at the child. There is just no, it doesn't go, you don't just generally get over it. Some people can, but it's very rare. Because it's in your body. We're getting there. But it doesn't even have to be directed at you. Like if you, and by the way, I apologize, there may be some trigger warnings in this. I should have probably said that at the beginning. If you've had trauma in your past, some of this conversation might trigger you. And I intend to, I want you to know that my intensity is coming from my passion, my desire to help people and get this information out there and share this, because I'm going to barely be able to share with you what I've discovered in this time. So trauma directed at the child is obvious, but even if they witness it from somewhere else, children being resilient to trauma is a fallacy. There is no filter. They can't filter it. Anything can be a trauma. Let's talk about some subtle examples. Many parents most are not aware of this, but many parents, I would even go so far as to say most, cannot stand the sound of their baby crying, because we take it as a personal criticism. We hear the baby cry and we think that means I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad father. And we, in an extreme example, we try to get the baby to stop. Even if it's gentle, we come over and go shh, shh, shh. Or some parents, probably none of you, I hope, I'm guessing none of you, might actually yell at the baby or hit the baby or shake the baby. Obviously that's traumatic, but it's more subtle than that. I want to give you this example because I want you to understand how subtle these traumas can be and how pervasive they can be in your life afterwards. Babies are very intuitive. They can feel the feelings of people around them, and they have no ability to filter them and distinguish between what is their feeling and what is someone's feeling. So, hypothetical situation. Baby cries, mother feels pain because she feels like a bad mother, and she feels resentment towards the baby, but she can't deal with that. She can't deal with the idea that I'm a mother and I'm feeling resentful toward my own child. So she takes it and she shoves it down and puts on top of it a layer of guilt. Now, from the baby's perspective, all that happens is I started crying and the mom went away. I lost her. I didn't feel her anymore. Alexander Lowen says that he can see in babies as young as 2 or 3 months old that they start to stifle their own crying in order to prevent the disconnect from those around them. But here's the thing. There's only one way to disconnect from your feelings. Stop breathing. So what do babies do? They go, eh, and they choke themselves. This trauma is a pattern that goes back for many people to a period of time that I like to call pre-linguistic. These are patterns of behavior that that if you try to put words to them, you can't solve them, because they happen before words, literally, before you had words. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, I'm gonna go through this one pretty quickly. Thumb sucking. So they have found that babies who are breastfed have a significantly lower percentage of thumb sucking than babies who are bottle fed. However, some of them still suck their thumb. So what I've read in various sources is that there's multiple things that a baby is being fed when they are breastfeeding. There is food, which is different food than comes from a bottle, first of all. There is skin-to-skin contact, which is just beneficial by itself. And then there is an emotional resonance that they get from falling in a rapport with the mother and the baby falling into a state of subspace, a state of trance, a deep connection and rapport. But babies can pick up on the emotions of those around them, especially someone they're that close to physically. If the mother is feeling some emotions, stress, about anything, financial, relationship, maybe she has issues about being a mother, maybe she has some sexual shame that comes up because breastfeeding feels good and pleasure is something that we cannot handle in this culture. So she feels those and doesn't know what to do with it, and so she tightens her body involuntarily. She tightens her body and stops breathing. I used to say about my mother that when she used emotions to manipulate me, her love if I did something she didn't want. How many of you have ever felt that from your parents or spouse or friends or somebody in your life? You've had an experience of them removing their love. You know what I mean when I say that. You get what I'm saying? The phrase removing your love, but I never knew what it meant. I never understood what removing your love meant. It's not that complicated. Before we're done here, I'm going to explain exactly what remove means physiologically. It's a behavior. If there's one thing you can learn from NLP, it's that everything that you think is some weird abstraction can be broken down into a behavior. Okay. So the bottom line is narcissists are not evil. Hurt people hurt people. We become narcissistic because we get hurt, we stop feeling our body, we stop moving, and we start building up an image, an idea of who we're supposed to be that is different than who we actually are. Who we actually are is a lot more about what you feel than what you think. One of the reasons why we don't deal with this is shame. Shame, you can write this one down if you want, is the cage that we lock our wounds inside so we can't heal them. I don't know who said that quote. Some guy. And the last point that I want to make on this is that it generally doesn't just go away. When these traumas are pre-linguistic, when these traumas are in the body, you can't think your way out of it. And what happens is called emotional armoring. There are literally bands of tension around the body where we stop moving fully and breathing, and they limit our capacity to feel and be fully alive. This is based significantly on the work of Alexander Lowen. This quote, "The body is a book that tells your entire life story if you know how to read it." When I first heard that, I thought it sounded pretty woo-woo, but I want to take this extremely literally, okay? If you were attacked by a shark and your arm was bitten off, I could look at your body and see that story, that chapter of your life right on your body. But I want to tell you that someone who has spent 30 years hunched over a desk working at a computer, it is no less obvious to see that story told on their body than the shark attack. It's just that it happens over time, like the frog being boiled in the water. Now let's take it one step further. If someone has been chronically anxious, anxiety, what is it? It's a feeling. It's a feeling in your body that triggers responses in your body. If you feel anxious, there are muscles that activate, and if they chronically stay tight, then they will never release unless you let them out, unless you get back in touch with your body, unless you start moving and feeling again. But we're afraid to feel. Culturally, we've been told that if you trust your feelings, they will lead you in the wrong direction. At least that was what I was taught. And even if you weren't raised religious like I was, on this one so much. My mother was Christian. That one had more of an issue for me. I'm not trying to get into a conversation here about religion. I'm just going to say that I think there are a lot of things that have been done in the name of various religions, and the Christian church is not one of them that didn't, that are not very Christ-like. And there has been a literal demonizing feelings in our body that has gone on culturally. There's a separation of the mind and the body. And it's not entirely religion's fault. Science has done a lot to disconnect things. Here's a couple more quotes. A guy named Ido Portal, love this guy. "The body will become better at what you do or don't do." Meaning, if you sit at a desk for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, your body will become better at sitting at that desk. Muscles will shorten. Tendons and joints will shrink in size. Move, because if you won't, one day you may not be able to. I'm hoping that might have been a wake-up call for you. Number 3, the reptilian brain doesn't care about your self-image. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. Maps and models of the mind. Okay? So maps and models. First of all you NLP experts, you guys know what I mean by this? This is not a pipe. Right? So maps and models. The map is not the territory. You guys remember this? A description of the mind cannot be 100% accurate. If I'm going to make a map that is supposed to get me from here to Chicago, if it is 100% accurate, the map would literally have to be the size of from here to Chicago, right? But that would be useless. So a map, in order to be useful, must be inaccurate. Think about that. The map is not the territory. The only usefulness of a map depends on similarity of structure between the empirical world and the map. So, we're going to talk about some maps of the mind. Models of the mind. Whoops, that one went by really quick. That was a cool picture. I'm going to go back. Hold on. Stay. Yes. Isn't that a cool picture? I like that one. Okay. Moving on. So, this is Africa. No, sorry. This is an iceberg, right? You guys know the iceberg thing? This is your conscious mind. This is your unconscious. This is a very, 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 very useful model. It is not accurate, just like no model for the mind is accurate. This is a very useful one, and it's one you, as an NLP expert, probably know more about this one than the one I'm about to talk about. Maybe you've heard about this one, maybe you haven't. But I want to break this one down further, okay? So, triune brain theory. This is the idea that there were three stages of development in the brain, and evolutionarily they in order. That the oldest part of the brain is the brain stem, sometimes called the reptilian brain. Then the next one we have is the limbic brain, which is the mammalian brain. And then the big part on the outside is the neocortex. This is the youngest part of our brain. It's the part that we have more of than other animals, and it's the part that generally tends to separate us in our ability to disassociate. We have in our house and a pet cat walking around here somewhere. And I always love that we have an example of the reptilian brain and the limbic brain just to like look at and see how they react and how they live and what they do. So I want to talk about the neocortex though. See, the reptilian brain, we'll go through this quickly. The reptilian brain is responsible for the major F's, okay? Fight, flight, food, fuck, and another one that a lot of people don't know about called freeze. Fight, flight, and freeze. This is, by the way, one of the keys to understanding everything that I'm talking about here. It is the freeze mechanism that causes the tension to not be fully released. And it's breaking through that freeze mechanism that allows you to finally let go of all that stuff. Freeze process, fight and flight, is like having your foot on the gas and the brake all the way to the floor at the same time. And your body is like, nee, but you're not moving anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Freeze is what a deer does in the headlights, right? And the evolutionary function of freeze is if a bird, let's say, catches a snake, okay, and then lands on the ground, and let's say it gets distracted for a second. The snake stop breathing and stop moving. It will fully, like, reflexively just go blah, like this. And sometimes the bird will look back and go, where'd it go? Because birds are fucking stupid. So they'll look at it and they won't see an animate object. They'll see an inanimate object. And they'll sometimes leave. So it evolutionarily worked. But the problem is that we get this freeze function triggered all the time. Now the limbic brain is more what we would refer to as the unconscious. It's the emotional brain. It's very metaphorical. It's symbolic. It's all the things that you know about the unconscious. Although the way I like to think of it is that the deep recesses of the unconscious are the reptilian brain. It's still the unconscious. It's just the deepest part of the unconscious. It's stuff that's so deep it's hardwired into the system. And then the limbic brain, cortex. I heard a definition of the neocortex recently that I absolutely love. The neocortex could be thought of as the lying storyteller. Your conscious mind is a liar, and its primary job is to make up stories to justify why you did things that you did for irrational and emotional reasons rationally. It comes up with rational explanations for why you did things that are actually completely irrational. There's some really great books on this topic. Thinking Fast and Slow is a really great one. By the way, that picture next to it is an optical illusion. If you look on one side, it looks like someone's face. If you look the other direction, it says the word liar. Okay. So, you guys remember hearing about the three minds. We talk about the physical, or the three bodies, emotional, mental. We talk about this in the NLP trainings. You've heard this before, but I want to talk about it in a slightly different way. I want you to imagine that in the middle of emotional, there's a line. And there's an upper and a lower emotional. The upper portion is what would be called mental. The lower portion is what we would call physical emotional. Here's where we're going to start to talk about NLP. Okay? NLP is the best set of tools. Hypnosis and NLP are the best set of tools that I think human beings have ever come across for working on the mental, emotional aspects of the self. But until you incorporate body, and honestly, there are some things that you just can't even give words to, or you will limit your ability to experience them. The physical, emotional side is literally another half of who and what you are that we're completely disconnected from. This is another model to talk about the same thing: physical health, mental health, emotional health, sexual health. These are all equally important conditions. You guys heard of Descartes? Some people like to say this is where things got off the rails, right? He said, "I think, therefore I am." Dumb. So, what am I driving at? We have been taught, and culturally, we live in a culture that believes I am a thinking creature that has feelings. And I would like to suggest that it is far more accurate for you to say, I am a feeling creature that has thoughts. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with one of my clients who's on the call right now. I didn't ask him if I could mention him, so I'm not going to. But he recently went and did a 10-day Vipassana meditation, silent meditation retreat. And when he came back, I picked his brain and asked him about what he experienced. And one thing he shared with me that has transformed my view of thought. What is thought? I want you to think about that for a second. What is a thought? You don't have to answer, just think about it. So you might say it's a chemical reaction, it's electrical signals in the brain, whatever. What I'm going to suggest is that the most important component to that question of what is a thought is for you to realize that you do not think your thoughts. Your thoughts happen to you, just like your feelings. If you want to prove that I'm right or wrong, try to think about only one thing for an extended period of time and watch how thoughts happen to you. You are not the thinker of your thoughts. You are not the feeler of your feelings. So I want to summarize everything that I've been talking about here. And credit where credit's due, a lot of the stuff that I have been sharing with you, I first learned about from this guy. His name is Elliot Hulse. And I want to sum up everything I've been talking about by saying your whole body is your brain. Your whole body is your brain. You can't discount any part of it. So, just to give kind of a shout back to NLP now, Robert Dilts, for those of you who know him, has been saying for the last 15 years that one of the major missing components in the original code of NLP was the body, the somatic psychology work. So the problem with NLP is that it is like catnip for narcissists. I know. I'm a recovering narcissist. I think that, I can't prove this, and I've never met him, but I suspect that Bandler is also incredibly narcissistic, and that his personality challenges have trickled down through the NLP. And the problem with NLP is that it convinces you that you can solve everything with your mind. And it further disconnects you. Not everyone. If you were already connected with your body, then it probably worked. If you weren't, it probably didn't. The single most vital step on your journey toward enlightenment is this: to learn to disidentify from your mind. I am an enormous fan of Eckhart Tolle. I think about half of what he says is absolutely brilliant, and about half of it is just gobbledygook. Like, it doesn't even, like, you analyze it linguistically and it literally doesn't mean anything at all. But half of it's really freaking awesome, and I don't discount that he had a profound spiritual awakening, and I just think his ability to describe it, and he's put a lot of other pseudoscientific bullshit in with it. But when I see these kinds of quotes, learn to disidentify from your mind. Okay, how? Like what? Meditate for 20 years, or do what you did, Eckhart, like go sit on a park bench or whatever for like 40 days or something? I remember the story, but how do you do it? How do you disidentify from your mind? I'll tell you, feel. Feel right now. I'm talking to you. Feel your body. Were you feeling it before? Have I been captivating your attention? Were you distracted? How many times a day do you notice your body? When you have to take a shit? When you're hungry? When you're horny? When you're tired? How often do you ignore it? How loud do the signals have to get before you pay attention? Your body loves you, and it's not your fault. You live in a narcissistic culture. You can reconnect. Oh, number 4, bonus. Everything you want is a feeling. This is the insidious trap. If you think about any goal that you want, it doesn't matter what it is, at some point, the reason that you want it is because you want a feeling. You want an experience. A person doesn't want $1 million because they want 1,000,000 pieces of little green paper. They want $1 million because of what they think it will mean, what it will do, the experiences they'll be able to have with that. So here's the problem. If you can't feel anything, if you're disconnected, and you might not even know how disconnected you are right now, if you're disconnected, you will never get what you want. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or 1 million fans, or it doesn't matter how many people love you or how deeply one person loves you. If you can't feel it, think about this for a second. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist and that narcissist said to you, "I love you," most people, when they hear that phrase, I think that most people assume that what the person means is, right now, I am feeling the feeling of love in my body. But a narcissist can't. It's not their fault, but they can't. So when a narcissist says, "I love you," they're lying, just like they lie about everything. I am a recovering narcissist. I've only been truthful for a very short period of time in my life. Now, a person in a relationship with a narcissist might see them and hear them say, "I love you," and inside they go, "Oh, right." Like, I don't think, well, but I'm not going to call them a liar. So, I mean, they say they love me, so okay, I guess they do. I guess my compass is wrong. When you can't feel, your unconscious mind will lose all motivation for anything, because it will say, would I bother going and accomplishing that goal, because we're not going to feel anything when we get there. We don't feel anything now. Matter of fact, we mostly feel like shit because we never let this go, so we're clinging to all this stuff. So I feel like shit now. I'm going to feel like shit when I get there, and I'm going to feel like shit on my way there. So no, you can't lose weight. No, I will not give you the motivation to build your business. No, I will not get you up in the morning like you're a 5-year-old and it's Christmas or it's cartoons. When was the last time you had so much pleasure and love and joy in your body that you couldn't help bouncing? Grown-ups don't do that. If you want to create a culture of slaves, disconnect them from their feelings. Castration, emotional castration. All right, so what do? You might be wondering. Okay, well, there's two things, right, that a narcissist does. They disconnect from their body, and they prioritize the self-image over the actual self. We didn't talk about that second one a whole lot because I just don't have time to go into the detail. There's a lot behind this. You release the tension and dissolve the self-image. Easier said than done. How? Well, there is a process created by Alexander Lowen, the guy who wrote the book Narcissism, called bioenergetics. And it is a series of exercises designed to get you out of your mind and into your body, and then to let your body lead you. And there's this. There's so much behind the science of why things like dancing and singing make a difference, or even exercise. They make a difference, but they often don't deal with it entirely. Because if somebody exercises and they have neurotic holding patterns in their body, structural rigidity, then what happens is that they exercise in ways that exacerbate it. So somebody who is hunched over like this, they're hunched over like this, and they can't comb their own hair. The problem is that we've forgotten how it's supposed to feel, like the frog. We've forgotten how much better it can feel to be alive in your body. Now, we're almost wrapping up with this part of this here, and I have good news, and I have good news. On the mental, you guys remember this one? The mental emotional level. The mental emotional level and the physical emotional level. On the mental emotional level, change can happen instantly. Because it's all imaginary anyway. If you have imaginary problems, you need imaginary solutions to solve them. That's what NLP and hypnosis is so good at. And when that's where the problem is, it will happen instantly. On the physical level, change doesn't work that way. Healing generally takes time. You can make the decision to exercise every day for the rest of your life right now. And you can change everything mentally and emotionally so that you will be able to do that. But you will not get the results of having done that until you've actually plant a seed in the ground, but you come out the next day and it's not an oak tree yet. And you can't skip steps either. But I want to give you a new model, a new paradigm. This is one of the most powerful reframes that I've come across recently for understanding a different way of looking at certain types of goals. Okay? So normally when we think of a goal, we think of a path, a beginning, a path, and an end. Well, for certain goals, but the problem with that model is that the only thing psychologically that has value is the end. And I want to present a different way of looking at this. I want you to think about this type of healing work, taking layers of emotional armoring and letting them go and releasing and healing as not a goal that you are walking a path to achieve, but it is a gold mine you are mining gold out of. See, the difference in that kind of thing is that with a gold mine, you're going to keep mining until the gold mine is empty. Why would you stop? You're still getting gold out of it. See, when we think of things like dieting and exercising as having a deadline, like a finish line, we think of them as only having value when we get to the end. But with a goal that has no value is the end. This work takes time. This work takes work. It's not easy. But every single layer is a treasure. Every single wound that you heal changes your life. Your body is your whole brain. And in that brain, so in that way, it is the filters through which you are experiencing everything in your life right now. Your body. And if you can't feel your body, if you can't move and express, if you have wounds, I still have so much shit in my hips and my low back that I'm working on, but man, I can move better now than I have ever been able to, that I can remember. And I've been working on it hard every day. It's not comfortable sometimes. It's certainly not emotionally comfortable. And it's not something that I think you could, at least not for me, that I can do by myself entirely. But it's worth it. Okay. So that was my talk and bioenergetics and the mind-body connection. And before we finish up, I thought a lot about where to go from here. So I have a 2-day event that I'm running at the end of January, a live intensive where we're going to be doing this work with a bunch of people coming together to practice this stuff. Is that with this webinar, there's a whole bunch of people that are probably not going to be able to make a live event at the end of January. And I really wanted to offer this as a way for you guys to be able to either break through the blocks that have been holding you back in getting results with the NLP and the hypnosis that you took and learned, or add more tools to the toolbox. So let me talk a little bit about what I came up with. I am going to be running a program called Lose Your Mind, Live Your Joy. Alexander Lowen says that when you let go of your trauma, the natural state of human beings is one of joyfulness, being full of joy. So this is a full bioenergetic training intensive. What does that mean? Let's talk about the goals. The goals for the 4 weeks: reconnect you with your body. Fundamentally, this is not an intellectual exercise. This has to be about feeling again. Reconnecting you with your feelings. Understand the practical mind-body connection. There's so many books out there that talk about the mind-body connection, but I have found that there are a very select group of books that teach you how to actually use the mind-body connection in a way that goes deeper than anything I've ever seen anywhere else. Understand how trauma happens and the role it plays in keeping us stuck. And I would add to that, identify your own traumas. Elliot Holst, the kind of badass guy that you saw pictures of earlier, he likes to say that there are some problems that you work on and then you're done. Like the gold mine, you get to the end and there's no more gold in it. And then you're finished. But he said there are other problems that you're probably just going to keep working on, right? You're just going to keep working on for the rest of your life. That's not a problem. That's not a bad thing, because it's like my low back is probably going to be something that if I ignore it for any extended period of time, it's going to be a problem forever. But when I work on it, why is it a problem? Because that's where my body stores stress. So why do I have to work on it? Like, if I want to live a life in a bubble where I never experience stress, maybe I wouldn't have an issue. But if I'm going to go out and I'm going to experience things, my body is going to accumulate it somewhere, and I'm going to have to work it out. We're going to talk about exercises and tools to help you identify and let go of your emotional armoring. Make NLP work and make it work better than you ever imagined. We're going to integrate all of these bioenergetic tools at the end of the 4 weeks into NLP and hypnosis, and be able to help others do all of the above. So you're going to actually other people. So the 4 weeks break down into this. The first week is called Your Whole Body is Your Brain, why the body matters and how the mind makes things worse. We're going to talk, I'm going to be giving you book recommendations. I'm going to give you videos that I've accrued and found over the internet to help you educate. You're going to get, it's a small group. It's limited to 25 people, so there's going to be opportunity to actually have webcam interaction with everybody. There's going to be exercises in every single week. We're going to be not a certification training, so there's no requirement to do any of these. You can show up and just watch if that's all you want to do, but I don't recommend it because this is about doing something. It's about getting it in your body. The value for that week, $247. Week 2, if you can't feel, you can't heal. How trauma creates our armor and what to do about it. Each one of the weeks I valued at $247. Week 3, demonstrating the power of using the body to heal our deepest wounds. In this week, my intention is to do 2 things. What I plan to do is bring a client live here with me and have you watching on a webcam and watch me do a bioenergetic release process with them. And then I'm going to do a follow-up with, in the same week, do another session with a volunteer from the group in person, and how I do it virtually, because I have started practicing this over Skype. And I'll tell you, it doesn't work as well as in person, obviously, right? But it's been pretty darn effective. And it definitely is possible to add this to your tool set of things that you do with people virtually. And week 4, what I call pre-linguistic neurolinguistics. Answering your questions post-exercise, because after week 3 you're going to be doing work with other people, how to integrate the body into your NLP and hypnosis practices. And I've been working with a teacher here in Southern California, an NLP teacher, who has been practicing incorporating somatic psychology into hypnosis and NLP. So we've got total value 988. Who is this for? I see this as primarily for 2 types of people. If you are like me in the sense that you worked on yourself with NLP and did not get results, this is what I designed to help those people. The other group of people that I think this is for is even if you have gotten results with NLP, but you want to be able to take your work with clients up to the next level. You want to add a whole new set of tools. Because remember, I think of this as half or more than half of what you do with clients is about the body. Some of the best therapists that I've learned from in the last 2 years will tell me that the first thing they do when they bring a client in is lay them out on a massage table and start working with their body. I've got a testimonial here from one of my clients who's on the call right now, who I have done some of this work with. His name's Alex, and I want to read this. As a child, I learned how to stuff big and dissolve and ignore emotions, to conceptualize them as a thing of the mind. On my path to becoming a trainer of the master practitioner level of mental emotional release techniques, neurolinguistic programming, and hypnosis, I learned to control and negate the effects of emotions and to release their associations to memories and mental triggers. It leveled me out a lot, but the more I learned to control my emotions, the less I felt them. All of them. I was becoming dead inside, with the exception of the few emotions I felt. And sadness could last months, while joy merely minutes. Working with Nicholas is not for the weak or those uncomfortable with change. It is not an easy path I'm walking, but damn if it isn't worth it. Nicholas has been here through it all. Our work with narcissism and bioenergetics has helped me give life back to a deadened body, freedom to a trapped spirit, and has replaced shame with a feeling of self-worth and joy that continues to grow. It is a feeling that I cannot describe and I've never known. I encourage anyone, some or tried nothing, but is ready for a change, to work with my friend, my trainer, and my coach, Nicholas. Thank you so much, Alex, for sending that. I really, really appreciate it. So, quick review. This is what you'll learn. 4 weeks. And I learned how to do webinars before I did this, just so you guys, full disclosure. Apparently, you're supposed to do this process and then you do bonuses. So now I'm going to give you guys some bonuses. Ready? Okay. So for the first 15 people only, you will get a downloadable hypnosis audio by me on the topic of reconnecting to your body, your feelings, and your joy. This is valued at $29, and it is free. Steak knives. Okay, here we go. For the first 7 people only, a 75-minute coaching call with me to use on any topic whenever you want to use it. $1 for my 75-minute coaching sessions, and you get that for free. Now, you don't have to use this as part of the program, but if you want to, you can. We can do bioenergetic work. I can talk to you about what I've learned about breaking through blocks with NLP and getting hypnosis to work and all that. So, what you will receive, including the bonuses, some details on the actual the program is going to be on Tuesdays in the evening. Still trying to work out a time in the evening, but it will be recorded, each one, so if you can't attend the live events, you can still get question and answers, and you can still connect with other people in the group, and you can watch the recordings after we go through it. Okay, so when I thought about what to charge for this, I wanted to make it accessible. And I wanted to make this something that was an easy decision because I really want you to take advantage of this. And I really think that it's worth the value that I just put on the last page. I mean, if you could just reconnect with your feelings, how much would that change your life? If someone had taken all of the NLP trainings and had never been to get any of the techniques to work, and that's the only thing they got out of it, wouldn't that be worth it? So, in the spirit of the holidays, I've decided that instead of $15.17, the full price for the training, the 4 weeks, is $497. But because I want to encourage people to take action quickly, if you sign up in the next 24 hours at the link that I'm about to provide, % off that for 4 weeks plus the bonuses for the first people. So that's $1,517 value for $247. All you have to do is go to nicholasrave.com/coaching-intensive. That link will be up here all the way until we get to the end of these slides. Now, wait, what is this? I don't know why that slide just played twice. And there's another bonus. This is for fast action takers. Exclusively for those of you who sign up before this call is done, I will personally record a 100% custom hypnosis audio for you on any topic of your choice. We will have a conversation beforehand where I'll interview you to figure out what it is that you want, and then I will record a hypnosis so that you can listen to once or you can listen to it repeatedly. One of my favorite things to do recently, by the way, is make people and myself a recording to listen to first thing in the morning that reminds you of everything that's important in your life. Literally, it reminds you of your values, your mission in life, your purpose, who you are, what you're doing, and even down to habits. Okay, like it can literally walk you from your bed to the bathroom. Walk to the bathroom, brush your teeth. Like the morning routine that you have sets up so much of your day. It's just one idea. You don't have to use that one, but it's one cool way to do it. And if you want me to incorporate all kinds of Milton model and metaphors and stuff, I'll let my creative side out and use my fancy microphone here. Okay. Value. I don't do this very often, so I'm pricing it at $200 free. So the total value is $1,517, and my promise, because right now you have a choice. You can choose to do nothing with all this information and go back to your life the way that it was, and hopefully you got something valuable from this. I tried to dump as much value into this as I could, and I really do. I ask you, please take this information and pay it forward. Go out and find a bioenergetic therapist if you want to just do that work. Read Narcissism, the book by Alexander Lowen. No question. That's required reading for the 4-week course. At least do that because it will change your life. And doing nothing is risk-free. So my promise with the way that I work with clients, and this actually came from this book, NLP coaches and out there, pay attention. This guy draws a pretty hard line in the sand, and he says this. He says, if you do not 100% guarantee your results as a hypnotherapist, coach, NLP transformational worker, then you don't really believe in your skill and your ability to help people. Period. That's pretty harsh. And when I first read it, I stopped reading the book because it pissed me off so much. But it got stuck in my head like a goddamn Inception virus. And I couldn't let it go. And I kept thinking about this idea that says, well, if I haven't delivered value to somebody and they're really unhappy, then here's my promise. My promise is 100% satisfaction guaranteed, and that means that I will work with you until it works for you, or I'll give you your money back. If you are not totally satisfied by the end of the 4 weeks and you call me up or email me, I will get on the phone with you and I will work with you and I will figure out what we need to do to add value to it unless we determine that it can't be done, in which case I'll give you your money back. That's my promise, and that's actually how I work with one-on-one clients too, for those of you who are thinking about incorporating that into it. I got a bunch of questions popping up. I want to get through this last slide here, and then I'm going to go look at these questions. Okay, Patrick, that's where I've hip and back pain. That's where I've been experiencing over the last several years. Yeah, what I can tell you is, ouch, I feel you, buddy, and it does get better. There are exercises, there are practices that you can do that will get you there, and it takes time. It's like it's tiny layers of the onion. And it can be done. You can feel like you're a teenager again. Okay. I'll talk to you about it later, Laura. Yay! Good. You're in. Chris, can you set it as the alarm for your phone, the hypnosis audio? Yeah, I love that idea. You can just have a recording of me going, "Wake up, Chris. It's time to wake up." Chris Breen, fantastic. He signed up. Thank you. Great. Chris Andrew, thank you. Melissa, going to see where you are and where you are going. Wonderful. I will be in touch. All the very best. Thank you. Barry, awesome. Oh, Barry, so glad you're going to be in it. Buddy, when we were talking the other day, I was just thinking like, I'm so excited you're going to be in it because we're going to have some awesome conversations. Cool, cool, cool. Will I be having another course, Noel? On this topic, probably. I don't know when. The plan right now is that it's going to be Tuesday nights the 4 weeks of January, although if I get a massive outcry that Tuesday doesn't work for some reason, like if people really like the weekend, I'm fine with the weekend. I just keep finding that all the research says that never, ever, ever do your webinars on the weekend. And here I am doing my webinar on the weekend. So I don't know. I'm probably going to be doing a different webinar series in February, but this one might come back around if it goes well. That's what I'm figuring. I look forward to it. Barry, I know, I'm excited. Linda, problems with PayPal. I'm going to freeze the screen here and see what's going on. That is not the right window. Problems with PayPal. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this. I'm going to log into PayPal and see what problems specifically, Linda. Veronica, yay, you're in. Hey, I signed up too. Bloody exchange rates. Oh, sorry. Ted, I'm in. Oh, fantastic. Oh my gosh, this is so great. I love you guys. You're amazing. No, please. Please, meaning, no, talking to you. Please, you want me to run it again? Is that what you're saying? This is Trisha. How do you feel about having a pregnant lady sign up? Oh, sorry, was I not supposed to read that out loud? I apologize. I think it's fine. I think you need to trust your body. I think you need to do what works and what's okay and what's not okay. I'm not sure. Is that what you mean? Like what is appropriate as far as the exercises? Because none of the exercises are required for you to do. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Veronica. Shandeep. Love you, brother. Ted, PayPal worked for me. Okay, it's a user. Oh, good. Linda. Okay, thank you. Webinar on holiday weekend. You rock. Well, you guys rock. I just had 50-some people show up to a Saturday morning webinar. This is amazing. Love to sign up too. I'm in Canada. Will this work for me at a distance? You touched on loneliness. Oh, Wendy, don't leave. Let's talk. Okay. We're gonna do Q&A as soon as I get. We're in Q&A right now. Will it work for me at a distance? Yes, absolutely. I've done this work with clients over Skype. So the exercises that we're going to be doing are primarily going to be virtual with other participants in the group. And we'll have to figure out ways. You probably are going to need a webcam. That's a requirement, though. I mean, you could log in with just audio, but I mean, I'm guessing if you're here, you probably have access to that. Me too. Oh, Kathleen, you're having problems. Not accepting the credit card. Okay. Linda, is it working for you, though? You said trying to use a debit card. I just did it. There were no issues. Okay, awesome. Coralie, good grief. I'm going to be doing a lot of hypnosis audio for you guys. That's fun. I'm excited. It'll be good. Coralie, yay. Yvonne, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm glad you're going to be in it. Noelle, yes. Okay, so you want to have me do this again. Well, I'm not making any promises, but if it goes well, and it seems to be going well as far as the interest level, probably, okay? So if you're not able to make it this time, don't sweat it too much, okay? Smart goals to prior to working with you. My breakthrough didn't eliminate my limiting beliefs. Must be several people. Oof. Exactly. You're promising that is going to be the result of our actual outcome. If not, okay. Let's talk. Yeah, Leanna, I'm reading your message. Let's talk because what I've found, I'm not going to specify what we're talking about here in detail because I don't know how much you want me to share. But when it comes to really deep trauma, you let out as much as you can let out and not have it re-traumatize you more. Does that make sense? There are some people where the trauma is so deep that letting it out actually, if they let out too much at once, it can actually re-traumatize them, and then you're not making progress. So you have to gauge it on a personal level. But let's set up a time to talk in the next 24 hours and you're out if it's appropriate for you, okay? Because I want to make sure that it's a good decision. Jeanette, congratulations. I didn't know you were pregnant. Yay. Okay, no worries. That's all good, Tricia. Fantastic. You get a 2-for-1 deal. Yes, good. Let go of all this stuff now. I'll speak to that real quick. I have noticed that as a father, I have inherited a lot of patterns from Dad. And on the Christmas tree farm, my grandfather lived right across the street. And I knew him. He was like a second father to me. And I can tell that many of my father's problems he inherited from his father. I don't kid myself to think that my son is not going to have trauma to work through. But the thing that matters the most to me is that I don't want him to have my trauma. I want him to have his trauma. My trauma dies with me. I am going to end it in my lifetime so my kids don't have to fight my battles. I will win my battles so they don't have to fight them. And props to new mothers coming in to do the same thing. Awesome, Jeanette. I won't be able to do all the exercises. Yeah. That's fine, Tricia. Do what you can, and watching other people do it is going to be healing because mirror neurons and all that stuff. Let's talk, Karen. We'll talk. I'm at work recording this, and I have no idea what the middle bits are about, but I signed up. Oh, my God, Adrian, you're fantastic. Just said, I'm at work recording this, and I have no idea what the middle bits are about, but I signed up anyway from my phone. I hope I was one of the first 7. I can't wait to hear what I just purchased. That is amazing. That warms my heart. Thank you. That kind of trust is amazing. Thank you. Dave, thank you. Absolutely. See you later. Chris, it works. Distance. Veronica, you freaking rock, my love. Barry Dykes, will there be documentation with the course? Don't trust this memory. Well, everything's going to be, Barry, everything's going to be recorded. So all the actual courses will be, or the trainings themselves will be recorded. They're probably going to be 2 hours and then an hour. Well, I mean, I'll basically stay as late as you guys freaking want. I'll answer your questions for another hour or so afterwards, but most people are not going to want to stay super late. So, but as far as documentation, yeah, there'll be handouts. I'll come up with papers and stuff. I mean, there's going to be slides that will go in the video presentations as well. Linda Dunn, fantastic. Missed a bit. I'd love to sign up. Will it be by webinar and replay? Wendy, yes, there will be recordings for each one. It is going to be a webinar. It's going to use GoToMeeting, not GoToWebinar, I think. And the reason is because I want to see you guys. I don't want to do this. This isn't going to work if I can't see you. So I'm going to, the reason it's capped at 25, at the GoToMeeting only allows 25 webcams so that we can actually see each other, and then I can actually pair you guys up for exercises in it. It's freaking cool. And yes, they will all be recorded if you're not going to be able to attend any of them. Yeah. Linda, we'll talk. Yeah. Are you having issues with my name? I wasn't going to say anything about it, but I was like, I'm not gonna butcher it. I didn't want to do that. So it's Crimson. Yeah, give me a yes so that I know I got that right. Leanna, email me at nicholasrave@gmail.com. Okay. Will you make this session recording available? I think a few people who would really dig it. Chris Breen, yes, I am going to edit this, what I just recorded, and to YouTube, and then that way other people who missed it might still be able to sign up. Although, I don't know, we might have just got 25. Like, it's possible that the whole thing is full, in which case I'm not going to rush to try to get it up. But, I mean, holy shit, you guys are amazing. Trisha, again, I'm signed up. If I made the cut for the extras, please. Oh, what? Okay, we'll talk. Thank you, Trisha. You're awesome. Did a workaround. Kathleen, you got it working. Okay, good. Heidi, you're fucking brilliant. Noelle, thank you very much. I absolutely need to go to the next level right now. It's just not a good time. That's okay. I have to tell you that you helped me tremendously since the seminar in Chicago. I'm very grateful. Thank you. Keep in touch, okay? Noelle, like, we'll keep an eye on my Facebook. I've got your email, so I'm probably going to be starting to like email people out like updates on things. But I'm going to be doing a webinar. Like, I'm sort of announcing this right now. Am I really going to say this? I'm planning to start doing a free webinar like this on a different topic every month. That's a big commitment, but I really want to do it. I think it's going to be, like, I'm planning on doing it for every month in 2016. So, so this is the first one, and next month is going to be on goals and New Year's resolutions. And then February is going to be about sex and relationships. And then March, I think, is going to be about another thing related to narcissism. So we'll talk about that when we get there. Working through trauma builds the tools to deal with trauma. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, Barry. Absolutely. Linda, thanks so much for this. I think it's exactly what I'm looking for. You are very, very welcome. Sarah, I want to sign up for the 4-week training, but can I participate remotely? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I wasn't clear on that. It's only remote. There's no in-person for the 4-week thing. I'm going to a 2-day live intensive at the end of January, but during the month of January, the 4-week training is only virtual. Veronica, you just about your dad ending with you. I've said that for myself as long as I can remember. Props. If no NLP experience worth trying, also private personal years of working through emotional armoring, how much fear will I break if I rush it? The last week is going to be really NLP centric. So I'm going to be talking about how to integrate it into breakthrough sessions and stuff like that. The other 3 weeks are going to be pretty easy to jump in. As far as your own emotional armoring that you want to work through, this is what I would say. Only go as deep as you feel comfortable. And it is an exercise in trusting your own intuitions. It's an exercise in trusting body to go in slowly. So I don't think there's a problem with it. But I mean, go with your gut. Go with your gut on it. There's no pressure here. This version of Chris is actually Alex. I think I clicked the wrong. Oh, that's okay. Hi, Alex. Hi, Alex. Chris. To clarify, this is going to help. This is going to be held Tuesday in the evening, California time. Correct. I am open. That is the right now, Jeanette. And if I get a massive outcry that people would rather do it on the weekends, I'll probably send out a survey and get a majority vote on it, because I'm open to doing it either way. Matter of fact, I'd even be open to doing it at a lunch on a weekday or something, if that works better for some people. But it's going to be 2 or 3 hours, so I don't know if that works. Plus, you need to have privacy for some of the exercises. Asking from Toronto, Canada. Yes, I do remember you. Wow, I'm way behind on my questions. Crimson, yes, thank you for reminding me how to say the name. Chris, awesome. Noel, yay. Veronica, woohoo. Corley, my book Come Live says a lot. Ooh, is it done, your book, Corley? Is it out, or are you writing it? Sorry, I missed part of, Gmail, nicholasrave@gmail.com, my email. Monthly webinar, good idea. Thanks, Dan. Signed up via PayPal, but the email on the is the wrong one to use to contact me. I've got that email, Grow Your Life. That's the one you used to register for the webinar, I think, because I think I have that in my list. I can't see whereby to go. Wendy, go to, you know what? Let me copy paste this. The screen. Oh, here. Let me do this. Whoop, wait. Did that work? Never mind. Hold on. Whoops. Cancel. Where did my slides go? Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay. Copy. Here. That is the link. Wendy, let me know if you got that. Tuesday is great. I just need to know we are 3 hours ahead. Yeah. Who is the author of the Narcissism book? Alexander Lowen. Alexander Lowen. Absolutely brilliant. I suggest read everything he has. Continue. Okay, cool. Beth, that's awesome. Trust your gut, okay? This spring. Corley, oh, it's coming out. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm caught up on questions. Does anyone have any questions? There's still 40 people here. Does anyone have any questions about the content, about what we talked about in this webinar? I mean, that was an amazing response for the intensive, for the 4-week thing, and I want to know, is there stuff that came up that you'd answer for you guys now? See you later, Tricia or Travis, whoever that is. Anybody? I'll stay on here as long as you guys have questions. Yes, Barry, dress casual. I'll send out an email that's like all the details. We're not going to be starting until the first week of January, so we got a little time here. But I will, I would suggest that you dress like you're going to a yoga class, basically. Flexible, nothing that's going to be constricting. Awesome. Thank you, Corley. You're all good on questions. I will wait for your email. This is very timely. When you say email, you mean the email detailing out what we're gonna, things we need to know for the 4 weeks? Is that what you mean? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Suggestions for movement stuff that moves one forward on this. Oh, Beth, read Narcissism and read read. Come on, I can do this. Lowen's other book called Joy. Narcissism basically talks about the problems, but it doesn't talk so much about the solutions. The book called Joy is his most kind of accessible book. It's not written for therapists and whatnot. Read Joy and read, and then just search YouTube for Alexander Lutz, seeing some stuff. Is there any other work that we can read on bioenergetics? Well, yeah, I would recommend the two main ones are Narcissism and Joy. Those are going to be the bioenergetic required reading for this course. Movement stuff that helps with baby steps. Yes, yeah, this will give you things that you can start doing that are very slow and easy. One quick thing that I would say, like right off the bat, walking. If you're not already going for a 20 to 30-minute walk every day, just do it. As soon as you can. I mean, start small if that's too much to handle, but there is a ton of value that you will get. I'll give you this one. You will probably live 20% longer if you walk 20 to 30 minutes a day. So, yeah, there's that. But as far as like actually helping to start to resolve walk, especially outdoors. Treadmill's not as good outdoors if you can. If you don't live someplace to do that, like do what you can, okay? You said the training is limited to 25 people. Sarah Jones, yes, the training will be limited to 25 people because that is the capacity of the webinar program that I'm using. Signing off, Jeanette. Explain to Steph what I just heard from you. He says, aloha. Aloha back. Thank you. Please let people know the books are often in the library. Oh, yeah. If you don't want to buy the books, go to your library and get the Lowen books. They're probably pretty easy to find. Merry Christmas. Tell Liz I said hi. Kathleen, thank you, and Merry Christmas. Hui ho. Including Narcissism is there, yes. Narcissism, the Denial of the True Self is the book. Hold on a second. I'll show it to you. Here you go. Start reading the books, Linda. And then I'll probably be sending out a list of videos, like an email of a bunch of YouTube videos, some playlists for anybody who signed up. So you'll be getting some video homework as well. Oh my gosh, what? She broke her arm in 3 places. Yeah, well, sorry. Walk carefully. I don't know. Walk and stretch. Yeah, Barry, absolutely. Jeanette, how far along are you? Sing. Yes. Oh, sigh. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the things that you singing. You didn't say sing, but it made me think of that. Singing helps too. Learning to play a wind instrument. The didgeridoo is apparently particularly effective for letting go of trauma. I know that sounds totally ridiculous, but it actually does heal things in your body. Meditative waddling, yeah. Gotta go holiday shopping. Great webinar. Very intriguing. A few tips for your webinar. Hey, yeah, Dan, I'm open to feedback. Send them to me. Facebook or whatever. Thank you. T.Y. Beth, you're welcome. Do it in mid-February. Ooh, you're close. Getting close. Belly dancing is awesome while you're pregnant or for releasing stuff? I mean, maybe both. Do you have the Joy book? I don't have a copy anymore. I gave it away. Oh, wait, maybe. I ordered another one, but I don't know if it's here yet. But if you look up Alexander Lowen, he only has a few books. They're all on Amazon. They're pretty easy to find. I want to sign. Take care. Thank you, Noel. Hey, we're done. Everything's good. Pierce, you want to come say hi?
Yeah.
Come here.
Daddy?
Yeah.
We found something special out there.
Hold on one second, you guys. Hold on. I still have to talk to them, but you got to run over here and say hi. Oh, show me, show me, show me. Come here. There's people on the other side of the camera. And you can't see them, but they can see you. And you're going to get a whole bunch of people saying hi back, and they're going to write it right over here. Show them what you got. You found a feather. Cool. That's awesome. Okay, let me talk to them and finish this up, okay? All right. Toning the digital. Yes, absolutely. It works for both, yeah. Joy, the surrender to the body and to life. Yes, Linda, that is the one. You, Chris, is that you or Alex? Whoever made that joke, you just said you gave away your joy. That's very funny. Great job, gotta run. Thank you. I'm in love to Liz. You sold me on. Send my love to Liz. You sold me on NLP while in Kona. Hi, Pierce. Oh, okay. Linda says hi. Chris says hi. Noel says aw. Beth says hi, Pierce. Chris says, I think one of those was Alex says yay. Hi, Pierce. Linda says waving. Chris says hi, Pierce. Shandeep says hey, Pierce. Heidi says hi, Pierce. Nice feather. Leanna says hi, cutie. Barry says nice feather. Wendy says feather. Linda says nice. Have we seen Star Wars yet? No. And here's why. Tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Come here. Wait. Hold on. Tell them. What's tomorrow?
Star Wars Day.
Tomorrow is Star Wars Day because we are going to watch all three of the classic Star Wars because the other ones we're going to pretend did never happen. And we're going to watch the classic ones, which he's never seen. And so don't spoil anything, especially about Empire Strikes Back. And then after that, we're going to go see the new one together. Is that going to be awesome? Yeah. Okay. There's more people. So Linda says, have we seen Star Wars yet? No. Chris says, awesome angels are with him. Crimson says, now a face for the name. Oh, you haven't seen him. Yep, that's him. He's getting big. Heidi says, hi, Liz. Jeanette, ciao for now. You guys can go whenever you want, by the way. I'm just going to hang out here. Noel, he's adorable. Thank you. Okay, so that one, Melanie, I think. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you, Melanie. I'm really excited. Sounds adorable. Krina, hi, cutie. Did you name him after Lane? No, I did not. But he definitely was named after somebody whose last name was Pierce. Coralie, hi, Pierce. Star Wars Day. I know. Yeah. Okay, got to go. Linda, see you. Sounds like a plan. Have a blast. Thanks, Ted. Cool curly hair. I know. Isn't it amazing? Patrick, thank you for doing this. I got a lot out of it. I can't attend until I get back on my feet. I just walked. Oh, Patrick. All right. Yeah, keep in touch, man. Let me know. Yeah. Little boy too cute to leave, Beth. Alex, I made the joke. Great presentation. Hi to Liz and have fun tomorrow. Logging off. See you later, Alex. Thanks for your help. Coralie, great webinar. Look forward to it. Crimson, ciao. I will, Heidi. Okay, bye. I've noticed you. I'm wearing a purple shirt too. Nice, Chris. Happy holidays to the Rave family. Thank you very much. Happy holidays to you, Noel. Is there anybody who has any other questions? Because if not, I'm going to call this a wrap. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. Love to Liz too. I'm in here. See you later, Chris. Thank you for coming. What took you so long to do this? Laura, it's about time, isn't it? Can't want to ask any, but can't think of any. It's okay. You can email me, Chris. No worries. Thanks for all your support, Laura. You're amazing. All of you inspire me. You're fantastic. You're why I do this. All right. I'm not getting any other responses. Going to call it quits. Thank you, guys. This was such a wonderful, resounding success. I'm so encouraged and really, really looking forward to the next time. And happy holidays to everybody. And let me know if you have any questions or anything else that comes up. And I will hopefully look forward to seeing a bunch of you in January. Bye-bye.